The tale commences with a thought-provoking quote: "In a man's nature lies the desire to make his death beautiful. For those in this world, it wasn't merely a virtue but an embraced way of life." The narrative unfolds with a fight where our protagonist Genko is immersed in a deadly fight with a swordmaster. With a swift and precise strike, the formidable girl pierces the master, leaving him sprawled on the ground, gasping for breath. He conveys, amidst heavy breaths, that he harbors no final words. His life aim is to fight and die, and that is enough for him as he is a samurai. Genko, with a bowed head, sadly acknowledges his valiant fight. Witnessing from a distance, they express no surprise at a demon swordsman's ability to kill a master from a famous sword school. They wonder looking at her grim face after winning a war. Despite this, the demon swordsman, who is perceived as incredibly strong, unexpectedly reveals regret and vomits, surprising the spectators. The story then shifts 5 years back to Backwater Dodge, focusing on Genko's life. While sitting with her father, she shares her intentions of joining the war with him. He responds with a simple acknowledgement, asking if she is really going to the war. In response, our girl expresses her enthusiasm, stating that for a warrior to meet a noble end amid battle, surrounded by a barrage of arrows and bullets, is considered a mark of honor. Her father elucidates how war goes, amid a chaotic battlefield, facing an advancing enemy like an overwhelming tidal wave, to engage in a fierce slaughter, fighting valiantly against numerous foes, eventually meeting defeat and succumbing to death, leaving behind only a lifeless body. Responding to her father's statement affirmatively, she nods in agreement. He recognizes her exceptional talent with the sword and attempts to steer her toward a different path promising success and prestige, questions her life as a woman. In response, Genko energetically denies this identity, cutting her face with her own katana, affirming that she's not just a woman but a samurai. Taken aback by her fervor, her father questions her about her aspirations as a woman, commenting appreciatively on her physical attributes. Unsheathing her sword, she declares her identity as a samurai. In response, her father rises, forcefully planting the sword into the ground, recognizing her proclamation as a true testament. This act marks her final lesson from him, a fitting acknowledgement of her conviction. With her sword in hand, she bids farewell to him. Later on, she proceeds to slay her master, an act carried out a year after this confrontation. The scene transitions to the most dangerous battleground where the vanguard unit serves as sacrificial pawns. Genko willingly chooses this role. With resolute determination, she screams out, demanding her father to witness her impending death. Her father offers her a spear, but she refuses it as she considers it unnecessary. As the enemy charges forth with a fierce roar, the commander shouts advice, urging them to keep the enemy at a distance and avoid risking their life. He emphasizes the importance of using the spears to charge against the enemy rather than engaging them closely, warning that this tactic will keep them safe from harm. As the battle commences, Genko charges toward the enemy, meticulously counting each strike as she swiftly eliminates her foes, one after another, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. Around her, fellow combatants engage with a sense of urgency, their faces displaying a mix of fierce determination and unwavering resolve. Observers, awestruck by her skill and precision, begin to speculate whether she might be a demon. Despite the overwhelming power of a single warrior in a large-scale battle, she fights relentlessly, slicing through the enemy ranks. Her conviction remains steadfast. She holds the belief that guiding an army to triumph is a fundamental duty of a warrior. Amid the battle, Genko spots a warrior riding on horseback, wielding a gun, attempting to assassinate the king. Realizing the imminent danger, she rushes forward, embracing the prospect of her own death with joy. Genko's memories of the battle conclude at this juncture. As she came back to her senses, the battle was over and the decisive blow that came from an enemy's lead ball struck her hashigame directly. The impact caused her to lose consciousness, succumbing to the force of the hit and fainting in the middle of battle. Awakening amidst the haunting silence and the unsettling sight of lifeless bodies, Genko stands among the fallen. She shouts out into the eerie stillness, calling desperately, "Anyone? Is anyone still alive? Is there nobody left?" Genko's concern and uncertainty echo in her questioning about the fate of the conflict. Did the Western Army triumph? In the aftermath of the Battle of Sekigahara, Genko had fought fiercely with the Western Army, a faction loyal to Mitsunari Ishida, of which most had lands in western Japan. As she regains consciousness and roams around the wreckage, a sudden misstep causes her to trip and fall. A voluntary cry of pain escapes from her lips. In a somber moment amidst the desolation of the battlefield, she gazes sadly upon the countless fallen bodies surrounding her. With a heavy heart, she contemplates aloud that they are all just corpses and not a single man left alive. Reflecting on the sacrifice and unwavering dedication of the men who fought valiantly, she acknowledges their commitment to their duty. These warriors had willingly cast their lives into the fray, driven by their unyielding pride, fighting until none remained standing. In their relentless pursuit of honor and commitment to their cause, they embraced a warrior's death. Amidst the grim aftermath, Genko suddenly spots her father's severed head lying on the ground. Rushing towards him, she is overcome with sorrow at the sight of him in such a dire state. Tears stream down her face as she covers it with both hands, crying out, "Father." In her pursuit of a warrior's death, she recalls her father's words about the terror of death, contrasting it with the unwavering resolution that warriors possess, enabling them to face it without fear. This conviction allows warriors to embrace a certain beauty within the warrior's way of life, a pure, honest essence that she feels akin to the katana. Overwhelmed by grief, she expresses her anguish, declaring, "You're all shining brilliantly to me. I don't want to be the only one left behind." Her cries echo in the desolate landscape as tears flow uncontrollably. Amid her profound sorrow, she realizes that she has lost her place to die. After that war, another year passed, and even after peace was established, travelers from the country in great numbers looking to enhance their skills. Among them, a certain individual proudly proclaims himself a sword genius, boasting of unparalleled skill. Confident in his prowess, he boasts to his companions, asking them to listen carefully as he is going to teach them something special. He claims the strength of one's sword is determined by the number they've killed. He tells them he has already slain 20 men, and now he is embarked on a journey to seek even stronger adversaries to defeat. After he departs, the fellow, anticipating his departure, chuckles to himself, finding his strength rather monotonous. Suddenly, the sound of approaching footsteps startles them, and Genko emerges. The man queries her identity, prompting Genko to respond with a cold edge, expressing a desire to face someone strong and engage in a battle by any means necessary. Her words catch them off guard. She provocatively suggests that the man could be the one to end her life by severing her head. It leaves the men bewildered and they question her sanity. His companion interjects loudly, insisting that Sensei wouldn't engage in combat with a woman, labeling the idea foolish. Genko, however, clarifies her identity, declaring, "I'm not a woman. I am a samurai." At the very least, when she meets her end, she wishes it to be in battle. The man, consumed by rage, bellows insults, declaring his intent to kill without restraint, even against some little girl. Despite his companion's attempts to intervene, he advances, momentarily discarding his veneer of civility. With an intense, menacing gaze, he threatens her with his lethal blade. However, as he lunges forward to attack, she swiftly slices him, leaving his companion in a state of shock. She then proceeds to prepare a grave, using the soil to bury the man's lifeless body. With precision, she places him in the grave and covers it with earth. Completing his burial among numerous other graves, she meticulously counts the graves, which total 100. Some people sitting outside the cafe chatter about Genko and gossip about the rumors of a demon swordsman circulating in the area. Speculation spreads that she might be an Akamusha from Sekigahara. Just as the gossipers continue discussing her, unaware of her nearby presence, Genko arrives, deliberately making a scraping sound with her feet. Oblivious to her arrival, they speculate that after losing a significant battle, she managed to survive and is now searching for a place to meet her end. One of the cafe patrons labels Genko as an idiot for surviving instead of facing her fate. They believe that she should be living an easy life after making it out alive. When asked about her strength, one person responds, emphasizing that she's rumored to be a genuine demon. Another individual recounts witnessing her fight, claiming she's not from their world, and refers to her as a monster. As Genko walks, she arrives at a reincarnation temple where the monk confronts her by telling her about the sin of not accepting death when it's due. She inquires if there's a man left in the world capable of ending her life. The monk advises her to let go of such thoughts, urging her to abandon thoughts of fighting. Instead, he encourages her to turn to prayer, directing her to seek salvation for her blood-stained life through the Buddha's grace. Genko kneels before the Buddha statue, pressing her forehead to the ground. She addresses Buddha-sama, admitting to having taken many lives and being ready to face the consequences in hell. Expressing her desire to die fiercely in battle like those she has slain, she rejects the notion of seeking salvation. Instead, she expresses a longing for an adversary, declaring that if she's considered a demon, She wants to be sent to hell overflowing with Rakshasa. A deep, resonant voice echoes through the temple, commanding a response, all right. Following a brief interlude of silence, Genko is startled by the urgent voice of someone calling out, imploring them to flee, and questioning why Guernica-sama hasn't arrived yet. Confused by the sudden commotion, she is inquired about her actions. A guard shouts at her, insisting she shouldn't just sit there but should hurry and flee, as it's a raid. Chaos erupts as goblins and dragons swarm the entire city, throwing it into disarray. Panic ensues as people scramble for their lives, but Genko is trembling and struggles to grasp the unfolding situation. As Genko comes out from the building, she lifts her gaze and witnesses a colossal dragon preparing to launch an attack. Stunned by the sight, she questions whether it's truly a dragon. Memories flood in her mind of a time when she asked her father about battling one. He responded with laughter and dismissal and explained that fighting with dragons belonged to the realm of fairy tales. And now this unexpected encounter with a real dragon shakes her understanding, because she had always considered it to be mythical. Due to the chaos, Genko finds herself disoriented. She questions herself about her current location. She tries to reconcile the scene around her. She was in the temple moments before, and now there is turmoil and chaos around her catching her attention, people fleeing in panic, while unfamiliar creatures viciously attack. She is bewildered by the sight of strange metallic beings and buildings she's never encountered in bizarre life forms. The sudden shift from the temple to this chaotic, unfamiliar environment leaves her perplexed. Genko ponders the surreal nature of her situation. Initially, she questions if she's inadvertently walked into a fairy tale, finding it hard to believe. However, the grim reality of goblins and other dreadful creatures mercilessly attacking and slaughtering humans confronts her. The overwhelming scent of blood and iron, the noise of wails and enraged roars, and the sight of fallen, scattered bodies paint a grim picture of battle. Despite her initial disbelief, she acknowledges the ongoing conflict as a fierce battle and feels an urge to join in. However, she's torn and uncertain about which side she should align with and whom to cut. Standing in the middle of the city, Genko observes the ongoing chaos, contemplating the situation. She assesses the monstrous army as of formidable strength. She acknowledges their overwhelming superiority. She ponders with concern as she envisions the potential outcome of this battle. If the current situation continues, the Metal Men and their allies have little chance of winning against this overwhelming force. In the middle of the mess, Genko notices a heartbreaking scene in the distance. A girl is sitting on the ground, tears streaming down her face. She is mourning beside a deceased individual whom she calls Papa. As the girl sobs, a nearby monster catches wind of her distress and rushes toward her. The Iron Guards express concern for the child's safety due to vulnerability amid the turmoil. A monster approaches menacingly, poised to attack the grieving girl. Genko witnesses the unfolding tragedy and remains bewildered by the situation. However, just as the monster advances toward the girl, a sudden shift occurs. The goblin diverts its attention away from the girl upon spotting another potential target, and it swiftly rushes off, leaving the grieving child momentarily safe from immediate danger. As the monster moves away, Genko approaches the grieving girl and inquires about her well-being. The girl is still sobbing and distraught. She looks at Genko with a mix of awe and confusion, and offers comfort to her by gently placing her hand on the girl's head, reassuring her that everything will be all right. However, their moment is abruptly interrupted by their arrival of another herd of monsters. Observing them closely, Genko's sense of bewilderment only grows. The more she observes these creatures, the stranger and more unfamiliar they appear. This makes the situation more surreal for her. She looks at the encroaching monsters and reflects on the vastness of the world and the chances it presents. She prepares herself and vows to cut down all the monster fellows. As they advance, she swiftly draws her swords and gets ready for battle. With practiced skill and precision, she swiftly strikes and cuts down the creatures one by one, dismantling them into pieces. Mocking their feeble strength and weak resistance, Genko systematically eliminates each threat. As she gazes upward, she's taken aback by the sight of the dragon. She recalls words from Japanese legends and reflects on the revered status of dragons. They are considered as symbols of absolute power. Throughout history, even the mightiest warlords have sought to dominate them, but hopelessly. Some nations have even worshipped these creatures as gods. Despite the immense danger they represent, the idea of confronting the dragon stirs something within her. The rumblings of desire to challenge such a formidable force grow louder as she ponders the possibility of facing off against this legendary entity. The guards, wearing iron armor, witness all the scenes of the slaughter of monsters by her. They are astounded by the mysterious girl's prowess in swiftly defeating and neutralizing the army of rank B orcs. They express concern for their safety due to the direness of the situation. However, they acknowledge that because of this enigmatic girl, they managed to avert complete annihilation. One of the guards, a young boy in armor, speculates about the possibility of her being a hero due to her remarkable actions. Yet, another guard dismisses this notion and expresses doubt that a hero, in his definition, could be unknown to them, especially someone as dedicated to battle as they are. He mentions he has the signatures of renowned heroes engraved onto his armor, and indicates that if she were a hero, he would have recognized her based on the signatures. The man tells him that the enigmatic girl walked into a dangerous forest, wondering if she will be all right. The other man reassures him that the path ahead leads to a dead end by castle walls, indicating that there shouldn't be an issue as long as she cannot fly. Meanwhile, Genko takes action to annihilate the dragon. She secures a chain to its leg and fastens the other end to herself. Using this makeshift method, she takes to the air, flying with the assistance of the dragon's leg. She addresses it, apologizing for borrowing its leg, and humorously requests its help for a short while. She explains her inability to fly and presents an unusual request, asking if it's immensely powerful and could be the one to grant her a warrior's death. She expresses a desire for a powerful fight as the dragon is a potential strongest opponent. With determination, Genko grills her sword with a metallic clink, preparing for the impending battle. She leads the dragon away from the city, deep into the forest, creating distance from populated areas. As they reach a remote location, she pauses, taking a moment to glance back at the city. Looking upon the city from afar, Genko reflects on the view before her. She compares it with Edo, the city in which she lived before coming here, and remarks on the stark differences. To her, this new scenery seems entirely different, almost as if it belongs to another world. As she plummets from the dragon after her chain breaks, she desperately tries to grasp the rope to no avail, plummeting downward with a piercing scream. Eventually, she lands amidst the woods, relieved but astonished that she survived the fall. She lands in a forest and marvels at her survival. She puzzles over the drastic dissimilarity between this unknown location and Edo. She expresses bewilderment at encountering unfamiliar landscapes and seeing words she's never seen before. Genko, surprised by her surroundings, encounters a unique species of frog. It further adds to her sense of disorientation. She grapples with the sudden loss of sight of the dragon and questions her whereabouts. She wonders where she might be in this unknown world. She recalls her recent memories and connects them to the moment inside the temple. A surge of realization hits her as she pieces together the sequence of events. She vividly remembers her words, a plea to be sent to a hell-like place, followed by a mysterious voice responding to her. Now, surrounded by such abnormal and unfamiliar sights, her sense of disbelief further grows as she questions the reality of the world around her. She wonders if this world differs from the one she knew, considering it might be another realm altogether. However, she dismisses the idea with a laugh as it looks too far-fetched to be true. She jokes about the possibility of being asleep, trying to rationalize the strangeness around her. Her thoughts are interrupted by a sudden scream, piercing through the silence of the woods. The unexpected sound snaps her out of her contemplation. Moved by the urgency of the scream, she immediately takes off, sprinting in the direction of the voice. Her mind races with concern, considering the possibility that a child might be in danger or under attack, possibly akin to the previous situation she witnessed. Despite her disorientation and curiosity about her current location, her immediate priority is to aid the vulnerable. She vows within herself, determined not to forgive those who harm the weak. Fueled by a surge of resolution and a sense of justice, she expresses her resolve aloud, swearing to deliver judgment upon those responsible. As Genko approaches, she discovers a girl trapped by the branches of a tree, crying out in fear. To her astonishment, she realizes the tree has a face and can speak. The little girl pleads for help, warning that the tree will kill her. However, the tree scoffs at the idea of Genko being able to save the child, mocking her as foolish and claiming that she would merely become its next meal. The tree's intimidating voice booms as it taunts Genko, questioning if it appears frightening to her and dismissing her efforts as futile. It denies her perceptions of this being a dream and ominously declares that everyone present is facing impending demise. Trent is a tree, and its nature is to eat humans. Genko is taken aback to see it. She contemplates her history of battle and severing uncountable heads, which might be affecting her sanity. The bizarre encounter with a tree capable of consuming humans leaves her questioning the boundaries between reality and potential delusions. The fierce clash between Trent and Genko begins. The tree launches an aggressive attack, prompting Genko to swiftly respond with her own combat maneuvers. As Trent attacks, it comments on the girl's agility and remarks on her appearance, questioning if she is the one who makes a living by engaging in battles. Genko, astonished by the tree's abilities, marvels at its capacity to move its roots akin to human limbs, enabling it to launch multiple attacks simultaneously. Despite finding the situation somewhat frustrating due to the relentless assault, she acknowledges the tree's formidable nature. In a climactic moment, the tree, Trent, roars with laughter, challenging Genko's ability to evade its attacks. In response, Genko swiftly maneuvers her sword, slicing through most of the tree's branches. Trent, shocked and outraged by this defiance, questions her audacity in harming it, proclaiming itself as a holy incarnation of nature. Threatening vengeance, it vows to unleash its true form to annihilate her. She takes decisive action, cutting down the tree's main stem, bringing an end to the confrontation. With a swift strike, she incapacitates Trent, ending its threat and putting an end to its violent intentions. In her reflection after defeating Trent, she comments on the tree's approach to combat. She acknowledges that despite its attempt to defeat her with many numbers and straightforward attacks, it was too predictable. Genko highlights the limitations of such straightforward tactics. She emphasizes that in a genuine battle where various weapons like arrows, spears, and blades are flying in every direction, her experience and skills prevail. And such straightforward approaches are below average in comparison. After ensuring the girl trapped by the tree is unharmed, Genko expresses relief and remarks on the close call. She indicates that she has a few questions to ask the girl. The girl inquires about a flower and runs to retrieve it. With excitement, the girl expresses gratitude for the flower being intact, exclaiming that she's finally found the mythical medicinal flower, the mana rose. However, her excitement is interrupted as Genko apologizes and asks for clarification. Miko introduces herself, stating that her expertise lies in cultivating flowers. Overwhelmed with gratitude, she stutters out her thanks to Genko for rescuing her. In response, Genko reveals her own name, Sekitsuba Genko, and her specialty in cutting down opponents. Miko finds it amusing and intriguing, expressing her fascination with the situation. She commends Genko for her remarkable feat of defeating Trent, acknowledging the impressive accomplishment. Her admiration leads her to wonder if Genko could potentially become a new hero. Surprised by the notion, Genko questions Miko about the term hero, seeking clarification. She appears puzzled by the concept, asking her to explain what a hero truly means, indicating her lack of familiarity with it. Miko is taken aback and says that there is no way she does not know about a hero and inquires Genko where she came from. She responds with a request for clarification. She addresses Miko with a respectful honorific, indicating her intention to question Miko regarding certain matters, aiming to clarify her understanding. Genko emphasizes the need for concise and truthful answers to her inquiries. Miko responds affirmatively, expressing her willingness to do anything within her capability, especially considering Genko as her savior, who proceeds with her first question, asking Miko if she's heard of a city called Edo. The girl responds with surprise, stating that she hasn't heard of Edo, expressing her lack of familiarity with that particular city. Genko proceeds to ask her a series of questions, attempting to gather information, yet Miko finds herself unable to provide the answers. After the exchange of questions, Genko feels weary from the unsuccessful inquiries and expresses exhaustion. She summarizes her findings and concludes that Miko doesn't seem to know much about the topics she is inquiring about. Miko responds with surprise, mentioning names like Fujiyama Shogun and Tokugawa Samurai. However, she admits that these terms Genko mentioned are entirely new to her. She indicates her unfamiliarity with those references. Nevertheless, Miko shows interest in trying something dango. Genko reflects on the situation, pondering the lack of utility of her common knowledge in this context. She asks whether this place might not be Japan, perhaps a foreign country. She reminisces about her youth, recalling her studies about knowledge related to foreign countries. Genko reflects further on the situation, reconsidering her initial thoughts about this place being a foreign country. She acknowledges that while there are some similarities, her experiences and the extraordinary aspects she's encountered don't align with the concept of being in a different country across seas. She expresses a sense of bafflement, finding the scenery and occurrences here beyond the realm of understanding. In her attempt to comprehend the situation, She concludes that she might have inadvertently found herself in what she perceives to be another world. In response to Genko's suggestion of being in another world, she laughs off the idea, dismissing the notion with certainty, insisting that there couldn't possibly be any other world than the current one they inhabit. This assertion is met with Genko's firm response, as she is unable to think of any other explanation for her circumstances. However, Miko challenges Genko's reasoning by pointing out the fact that they are able to converse with each other despite Genko's unfamiliarity with the environment. In an emotional outburst, Genko expresses shock at Miko's revelation. She questions Miko, seemingly surprised and incredulous about her ability to understand Japanese. However, Miko clarifies that Genko is currently speaking the language of this world, suggesting that she isn't aware of Japanese or that Genko's language seems natural in this context. Genko, feeling frustrated and agitated by this revelation, struggles to comprehend the situation. She angrily wonders if this could be some sort of trick or deception, finding it difficult to accept or understand the explanations being presented to her. Miko is bewildered by Genko's lack of knowledge about certain things. When she inquires about the nature of the monster, Miko expresses surprise, realizing Genko's unfamiliarity with demons. This astonishes Genko, as the term demon catches her off guard. Miko proceeds to explain that the creature Genko defeated, known as Trent, is a tree demon. She elaborates that this world is filled with various monsters like Trent, violent, merciless beings that pose a threat to livestock, towns, and even humans, instigating brutal attacks without remorse. As they survey the ruin caused by the monsters, the city lies in ruins, bleeding and engulfed in flames. Genko reacts with shock, finding it unbelievable that an entire capital could be reduced to ashes. She's astounded and denies the possibility of such destruction. Miko shares the grim reality that a staggering number of 100,000 people were ruthlessly slaughtered in a single night by the demons. The echoes of the chaos persist around them. Observing Genko's reaction, she wonders if the enormity of the situation has rattled her, reflecting on the sheer power and fear-inducing nature of these immensely strong creatures. Attempting to reassure her, Miko emphasizes that humans possess the capability to combat demons. She asserts that despite the threat, humans have the potential to resist and confront these malevolent beings. Miko firmly believes that humans won't succumb to the demons as long as heroes who possess unparalleled strength and prowess stand ready to confront these monstrous threats. She tells Genko when she arrives and sees the defeated army of orcs, she expresses surprise, questioning if the conflict has ended already. Addressing those around her, she inquires about her anticipated rewards. However, they express their apologies, expressing regret for the delay in fulfilling the promised rewards. Despite assistance from her, who is also known as Grunika-sama, they earnestly ask for forgiveness due to the unforeseen circumstances that led to the delay. Miko urges them to pick up the food from the ground and eat it. Observing their hesitation, she angrily demands to know what's wrong, insisting that there's still some sweetness left, and they should taste it properly. Startled by Grunika's unexpected anger, they express their surprise and confusion. When asked about the situation, they explain that a powerful and strangely dressed individual appeared out of nowhere. This person was incredibly strong, defeating an entire army of orcs single-handedly, wielding only a sword without any magical assistance. Miko, perplexed by this information, inquires about the stranger's whereabouts. However, they admit not knowing her location but assert that despite her strength, she doesn't fit the typical image of a hero in their eyes. They inquire, calling her Grunika-sama if she might know something about the situation. With determination in her stride, she sharply retorts that she knows nothing except for matters related to money. She questions them about the heaps of trash and how they plan to clean it up. In response, they express concern that it's too heavy to be carried. She decides to take action and sets fire to the trash, walking away from the scene. Furious about her prey being stolen, she angrily wonders who the thief might be. Hearing her, Genko bursts into laughter. Surprised by Genko's laughter, Miko asks why she's finding it amusing. She responds, expressing a sense of happiness. As a warrior, she confesses her continuous pursuit of formidable opponents, yet she never expected to encounter such acts. She tells about her journey to seek enlightenment in a temple. She reflects on the vile nature of these monsters and how her encounters, whether superior or inferior, they have been an unexpected and enlightening experience compared to encounters with humans dubbed as heroes. She contemplates the new world as full of unseen potential and hope and finds it amusing. Filled with the desire to fight, she expresses her eagerness for an immediate battle, praising the mysterious world she's in. Miko acknowledges Genko's weird behavior, who in turn inquires of her where she might find this individual referred to as Hirodano. Miko finds the samurai intimidating and invites Genko-sama to her place before doing anything else, expressing gratitude for saving her. She offers food, asking if she is hungry. Genko responds, emphasizing the importance of filling one's belly before engaging in battles against heroes and demons. Genko appreciates the offer and mentions her hunger since arriving in this realm. She starts running while telling Miko to start their journey and tells her about her favorite food, miso rice and pickle radishes. Miko warns about the dangerous forest filled with demons and insists they're going the wrong way. Genko questions how they'll leave if they don't walk, but Miko instructs her to follow. While she is busy with something involving a flower, Genko curiously asks about it. Miko asks for concentration, to which Genko playfully responds, teasing that she's aware of the world's ways. And even if it is too bad, it will not surprise her anymore. Miko finishes her magical incantation, and suddenly they're in a flower garden. The protagonist, astonished, questions how it can happen inside the forest. With a chuckle, Miko responds, indicating it's all due to her florimancy, seemingly her magical ability related to flora. Genko asks her if it is sorcery. She answers her about this particular flower, the fairy wing, which possesses the ability to transport someone instantly to a flower bed when it blooms. This newfound knowledge about magical flowers surprises Genko.
Here I am,